Yep.
Oh my god, we might have a normal length episode. Happy Halloween, my name is Dakota.
I'm Lauren.
And welcome to the Horror Nights Gauntlet's HHN 32 hype episode. So this is, we are not doing a community hype episode. It's too much work for how little time we have to work on the show this year. So we're just gonna do just ours, but we still wanted a guide to follow, so we thought for this year's hype episode, rather than just us throwing out random numbers and it not feeling organized, we're going to just follow the flow of the map. So we're going to just, start at the entrance of the park. It seems like the story kind of works best if you go counterclockwise, so we'll just go counterclockwise and hit the houses as we get to them via wherever the rumored entrances are, or where they actually are in space. So, without further ado, we don't want to waste too much time because this is going to be maybe a long one. I mean, maybe not. Maybe we can knock this shit out.
We gave a lot of feelings in the last episode. So if you haven't watched that, definitely watch that one first, because I do think we have given away some of our feelings about it there.
And I've definitely had more time to think since then.
Yeah.
But, we for sure, I don't know, we're not going to be reading the house descriptions. We're posting this the week of opening weekend. We expect you know by now what the event is going to have. This is just kind of what we are excited for and where we think it's going to land. And, always this is about expectations versus reality. So it'll be fun to kind of see what we thought beforehand. And then when we eventually post the review, maybe next year, we'll find out what the reality turned out to be. So like we said, we are starting at the park map. We are going into the gates of the park, and what is the first thing we should run into by the Universal Studios store but Dr. Oddfellow's collection of horror. Lauren, where does this sit for you?
So I have collection of horror at number 15 overall.
15 out of 70, yeah, okay.
So for zones, that's my number 4 zone. So
okay.
So honestly, I had it lower, but with some of the props that they've been putting out, I'm way more interested. So it's climbing. We'll see what happens at the event, but it's climbing up my list already. I usually don't love that table of contents sort of zone in the front there, but I do really like how it's spreading out into Hollywood a little bit, and I'm excited to see what happens.
For me, it's at number 13 overall, number 3 out of my zones. I also felt similarly where I was like, I just don't really care about carnival aesthetics.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to have an icon zone.
Oh, yeah.
So in that regard, I'm like, ooh. And then I'm also with the construction, so we're shooting this a couple weeks before opening weekend, so not everything is out on the street yet. So what we can currently see, there's a big platform that it looks like actors might be on top of that you walk under, and then there's
on the trusses.
Yeah, on the trusses. There's a stagecoach with a runway, and then just the other day, Madame Bazil, who the psychic who lives underneath Boris Schuster's apartment, there's a sign in the window that says off to join Dr. Oddfellow's carnival. So that idea that this could be deep lore inviting, I'm like, well, you got my interest, and you really didn't a couple days ago, and now all of a sudden I'm like, okay. Yeah,
I'm getting way more excited for Dr. Oddfellow's story for this season and how it's going to tie in with everything.
Yeah, the fact that it's is he? I realize they're just trying. It's a retcon, but I don't care. It's a fun retcon. If there's one thing this event is known for, it's retcons. But I think it's exciting, and I really hope that he's up on top of that platform with a microphone, barking at our guests. I think that could be really fun. But yeah.
So continuing on our path, we run into Dark Zodiac, that scare zone in Hollywood. So Dakota, where do you have this ranked on your list?
So for the zones, this is my number 1 zone, to I'm sure no one's surprised. And it is my number 2 attraction overall.
Wow, yeah. It is up there for you.
Yes, literally number 2. This is the second most interested thing I have this year. I feel like we already said it, but I'm really hoping for maybe 7 zones or 7 zone vibes. I'm hoping for maybe Vanity Ball vibes. But even if we don't, after we recorded our reaction episode, I went and looked at the Universal Singapore Dark Zodiac Zone, and I was like looking at all of their monster designs, and even that, I'm like, I'm interested. Like, even if you just give me monsters, if you just give me like themed monsters, I'm very interested. And the fact that it's Zodiacs, but I really hope it serves Con.
For me, I have this at number 9 overall on my list, and I have it as my 3rd scare zone.
Okay.
Mostly just because I really don't know what to expect from this, and like from what I've seen, what they have on the streets right now, I'm like, I just don't know. But I'm very okay. So this is another thing. Everything from like number 1 to like number like 13
you could go either way.
Could go wherever it wants. Like, I am so like,
I've changed it like 40 times.
Every single time I look at my list, it changes. So yeah.
Fair. I think something that we've noticed with the construction too has been that the stages seem to be grouped by elements. Mm-hmm. So, like, because the signs, of course, have an element associated with each of them: earth, water, air, and fire. And so that got me thinking, like, if they have, like, a visual, like, motif connecting the little groups together, or maybe there's rivalries, like, like, I don't know, I really started thinking about it, and I was like, oh, I could see so much amazing character work happening in this zone.
And then in the Discover Universal podcast, they did mention that they would have, like, the elements kind of represented, and did they say tarot? Or did something?
Yeah, they mentioned tarot as well, which I love tarot.
What?
So, if any iconography from the tarot, that would be amazing. I could even see, like, maybe instead of minions, they're, like, maybe the major arcana characters. You
said minions, and I'm immediately thinking, like banana.
Yeah, it's full of just yellow minions in, like, sexy plastic surgery outfits. But yeah, I'm very excited about this zone. I don't want to put too much hype on it, but I really am just setting myself up to be disappointed, honestly.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes. Yeah. We will continue on to the next scare zone, which will be in Central Park, and that is Jungle of Doom Expedition Horror. Dakota, where do you have this ranked?
This is my number 2 for my scare zones.
Okay.
And this is number 3 overall.
All right.
Dead ass.
Damn.
It looks amazing.
Damn.
All of these construction photos, I'm like, I'm really feeling what I'm seeing. I've started to like really look at the way my hype lists have been for the past couple of years doing the show, and I'm realizing like Central Park has been really turning it for me the past 2 years. I'm hyped.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the construction we've seen, with the crashed plane, the bats in the trees, the ruined temple.
The spiders.
I'm just like, you know what? I love this as a theme. We've really never had this kind of vibe in Central Park. Central Park tends to be one of my favorite zones every year. And then also there's that thing in the back of my head that's like, you missed Jungle of Doom. So, yeah.
So I do have this at number 5 overall.
Okay.
And it is my number 1 scare zone.
Hey.
I'm really excited for it. Central Park has never done me wrong. I've always loved the vibe in Central Park. I mean, it's not like a zone that you can like hang out in, but like I've always just loved it. It's always beautiful. I love taking pictures as I'm going through. Like, I love it, so I'm excited.
Central Park, I remember for a couple of years now, or for like a couple of year stretch, people were constantly like, they should stop doing Central Park scare zones. And to each and every one of you, a sincere fuck off. I'm sorry that you can't hang out in the zone. If you want to see it multiple times, fucking just turn around, walk back through it. That's what I do. I literally will just do a lap, like 2 or 3 laps, just to like, okay, cool. I'm getting to soak up this atmosphere. I'm enjoying these scares. Yeah, Central Park, love it, and I hope it's really scary. And I hope it's... Honestly, this could go camp. I could see this being camp almost.
I honestly, the 20s, like, safari, like, expedition thing, I absolutely could see it being camp.
Totally see them pulling
the
a left field.
The giant spider... Like, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
I am too. I could totally see them going left field, trying to surprise us all, have Dark Zodiac be dead serious, and have Jungle of Doom be the funny zone.
Yeah, yeah.
I could totally see them pulling one off.
That's also why, because I originally had Zodiac above Jungle of Doom, and I was just like, I think it's going to be pretty serious, so it moved down on my list for me. I feel like I'm so excited for that concept, like I can't not, but yeah, I know what you mean. So now we have a hike. So we are going to walk maybe into Kid Zone. Maybe we will go into Kid Zone to get to this house. Maybe we'll queue through ET because we have all that construction going on in Kid Zone.
In Kid Zone. So there's talk that we might be queuing for a house over on this side and then the other house past Springfield.
Okay.
So if that's the case, then that would mean our next house would be Universal Monsters Unmasked in the original Parade building. So where do you have Monsters?
So I have Universal Monsters ranked overall at number 2.
I thought this might have been your number 1, honestly.
I kept going back and forth between 1 and 2. This is why everything is just like topsy-turvy over here. Like, it was number 1 for a while, and I'm like, no, I think it's my number 2.
So that's number 2 houses and number 2 overall?
Yes.
Okay, work. For me, it is number 5 overall and number 3 for houses.
Wow.
So it did crack my top 5 overall, and obviously it's my number 3 for houses. The more and more I thought about it, the more I was just like, I love the Phantom of the Opera so much. And Hunchback is my favorite Disney movie. Hunchback is the Disney movie that I think is the best. I don't know that mermaids, whatever. And then Jekyll and Hyde is really cool, and Invisible Man I don't really care about, but I'm like, I love Paris. I love the Gothic. It feels wrong putting Monsters outside of a top 5 ever.
Yeah, the thing is...
The track record's too good.
It's so good. Monsters really has not missed, and therefore, I'm just like... It also has the most opportunity to disappoint because it has been such a good IP.
Like three for 3 so far, at least of the current era of Monster Houses. Yeah. So I'm super hyped for this, and the only thing I'm not excited about is how fucking long this walk is gonna be. Based on the big arch that they've set up, that we're gonna go all the way to the MIB bathrooms where the tents used to be entered from, and I think that's where we're gonna enter The Last of Us queue from. And if that's the case, holy shit. That's a walk. But the next house on our list is The Last of Us.
I need some better shoes. I need some fucking inserts, and
we're two houses into this walk and we're already dying, and it's hypothetical.
So The Last of Us, I currently have at number 12 overall, and it is my number 8 house. Despite that, I'm super excited for this house. This is one of those that keeps moving up and down. I'm currently watching a playthrough. I'm very far into it now, and it's just gorgeous. So I'm really hoping that the sets are going to be just, breathtakingly, beautiful.
It is, funny enough, it is also my number 12 overall. And it is my number 9 for the houses. But I agree. I do think it's going to be beautiful. And just when I was, thinking about everything overall, I was like, it can't shake the Walking Dead allegations for me. Even though I've now played the games, I'm still I haven't watched the HBO show, and I feel like once I have that final piece of the puzzle, and honestly, I'm sure once I'm walking through this house, I'm gonna be hype as shit. But I just, there's a bunch of other shit I'm just a little bit more hyped for as far as the houses go. And so that's how it ended up so close to the bottom with the house rankings.
I agree. And then, like, here's how I think that this can, like, really raise on my list towards the end of the event. If it's very scary, it'll automatically kind of, like, boost that for me. So we'll see what the event brings. But, like, that's how it could jump up for me, I think. Another thing that made me really excited was hearing that they have, like, the original voice actors for the game doing, like, lines for the haunted house. I'm like, that's sick. I'm excited.
That's really cool. I love that. The other thing that I think could really raise this house for me is how they handle the clickers and bloaters. Mm-hmm. If it's like the Demogorgon in the first, like, Stranger Things, where they're really coming up with, like, cool ways to incorporate it, this could soar for me.
Yeah.
But, like, because, I mean, I just generally get very excited about, like, creature design. So that could do a lot to, like, really make me love this house. So this could skyrocket on my list, or it could end up just staying where it is, I feel like. But we'll see. We'll see.
So that brings us to the first tent house over there, and that would be the Darkest Deal. Dakota, where do you have this ranked?
I have the Darkest Deal at number 4 overall for the event at the moment. And number 2 for the houses for me. And it's like so I watched the documentary on Netflix about Robert Johnson and the blues player who, like, you know, inspired the story. And that got me, like, thinking about, like, a lot of, like, different, like, possibilities about how the devil could work. And I'm really thinking the devil in this story is probably Oddfellow, but maybe in another form. And I'm thinking swamps, I'm thinking, like, Deep South, nightclubs. But yeah, I just, I don't know, something about it, the more I've thought about it, the more I've, like, learned about, like, the real world history, I've come to be a little bit more interested in this one. And it wasn't my number 2 at first.
I have this ranked number 4 overall, and I have it ranked as my 4th house. I feel like this was one of the riskier, like, ideas that Universal has done since I've started going to the event. So that immediately I was like, ooh, this could be really good or it could be really bad. And hopefully it's really good, but it's making me excited to have this, like, kind of, like, unknown thing. And I'm just really kind of hoping that they do the hell version of this, sort of in that vein of House of a Thousand Corpses, where you're just, like, entering into this, like, feels like a whole new, like, space. So I'm really interested to see that take on it as well. I do also was getting, like, I think that the collector is going to be Oddfellow.
I agree, and I think, you know, the fact that it's, like, a character, like, single protagonist-driven narrative has me very, like, So I'm very curious how this is going to play out, and it could fall. Oh, it could fall.
I've heard a lot of people say that they were getting, like, Spirit of the Coven vibes from this, and I'm like, hopefully not. I think it's a risk, and I am willing to jump into this risk with Universal, and hopefully it is going to be great.
I just hope they learned the right lessons about how to present a story to an audience and still communicate all of the, like, nitty-gritty details that you need to get the context, right? So that's what I'm hoping for from this. While we're in the tents, right next door, we have Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins.
So, Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. This is another one that's been fluctuating quite a bit for me. I currently have this at number 6 overall and number 6 for my houses. I'm really excited to see what this house brings. I like that they were saying that it's not like like you're going through the side entrance of a carnival, like a freak show. Like I think that that's a lot better than just like a carnival. Here's a bunch of, like, clowns. So I'm really interested to kind of see how this one plays out. I'm thinking it's going to feel different than what I was originally expecting, and so that's making me more excited for it.
I will be honest. For me, it is number 7 for my houses and number 10 overall. I think the original I'm least interested in, for sure. And it's nothing like the character I'm very interested in. It's just like what you're saying you're hoping it doesn't do is, like, my biggest fear about it is, like, and the reason I'm so hesitant to put it higher is I genuinely just don't give a shit about carnivals and clown aesthetics. Like, I just think it's kind of done to death. But on the flip side, we haven't really seen a dedicated circus carnival theme for a house with clowns in so long at Halloween Horror Nights. that it might just be like a nice, like, like, I don't know, like putting pumpkins back in the trees in Central Park, you know? Like, maybe it's time for some clowns and some tents and some circus carnival vibes. I'd heard people say, like, compare it maybe to possibly, like, Nightmare Alley, like the Guillermo del Toro movie, or even the original version of it from, like, back in the day, the black and white version. I could see it maybe be similar to that, or maybe, like, Freaks. So, like, I'm hoping for a lot of those kind of vibes for sure. But, you know, there's just part of me that's like, God, I just don't care about clowns and carnivals.
So, trotting right along, we would approach the Fear Factor stage. Is it still the Fear Factor stage? Or this?
I don't know that it has a name technically anymore. I think it's the Fear Factor stage until it's not.
So we would approach Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream. Dakota, where do you have this show ranked?
Well, there is only one show, so it's one of one. But it is it was almost dead last, but I ended up ranking it 15 out of 17. So very close to the end. I mean, I feel like we just kind of said everything that I had to say about it. It's nothing against the show. It's a good show. I just, you know, if it's not offering me really anything new, I'm just not gonna be that thrilled. Like, I'm not that hyped for it. It's, you know, it just is what it is.
Yeah, I have this ranked 17. It's just because last year's was so similar to the first year. Like, I've got to see that this is different in order to be excited for it. Like, you've already burned me once. You've got to prove to me that it's going to be different before I'm going to get hyped.
I'll be real. The stuff in my bottom three, I'm very, like, ugh, about all of it. So I was back and forth between my 16 and my 17. Yeah. I was like, I don't know what but I decided to give this the benefit of the doubt in that they really wanted to emphasize, like, they dropped the Halloween from the title. They really wanted to emphasize a new dreamer. And I'm like, I want to believe that, you know, they heard what we had to say. No, I mean, not us specifically, obviously, but, like, you know, they heard what the community had to say and was like, hey, we want a new show. So I really hope that's what happens. And if that's the case, hopefully this will really jump up for me. So we're gonna walk. We're leaving the Fear Factor Stadium. We're doing a little walk. We're avoiding Transphobia Alley, and we are going to Shipyard 32, Horrors Unhinged. Lauren, where is this for you?
I have this ranked at number 16.
And I'm assuming that is 5 of 5 for the Scare Zones? Yes, it is.
It is. Right. Yeah, it is number 5 on Scare Zones.
This is also my 5 of 5 for Scare Zones, and it is my number 17 of 17. This is the thing I am least interested in, and not for the concept, fully for what the construction looks like. I feel like we pretty much nailed it.
Yeah.
It's boxes.
It's boxes.
Lots of boxes. Although, did you see the crane that they, like, installed with the crash box? That's kind of cool. There's definitely some set pieces.
That tells a story, even.
Yes.
Just the crane with a crash box, and that's how they're unleashed. But, like, is it enough for me? It's going to depend on what the creatures are, and if they're all just throwback creatures, I'm going to be disappointed. But if you give me some new creatures, this could be raised a little bit.
Yeah, if this has got, like, I don't mind seeing a couple of, like, we're bringing some old costumes and whatever, but, like, I guess I'm over the throwback thing. Like, we did it 2 years in a row, like, let's go. So I'm hoping it's new monsters. I'm hoping it has a unified feeling. I'm not expecting that, but, you know, I want to believe.
So going along to the Fast and the Furious building, we have Chucky, Ultimate Kill Count. Dakota, where do you have this ranked?
So, Chucky Ultimate Kill Count is my number 8 house and my number 11 for my full ranking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have this ranked at number 7.
Okay.
Overall, and it is my number 5 house. I'm actually kind of really excited for this house. The concept also is like a riskier concept, so I'm like really excited to see how it gets pulled off. Hoping that they're successful with the execution. So that's why I kind of have it ranked a little bit higher.
I mean, I was back and forth on a lot of it. I mean, there's only like one licensed IP above it, really, if I don't count Monsters. So it's like, you know, I'm very excited. I love Chucky. I love this meta thing they're doing. There's just a lot of stuff I'm more interested in a little bit. Like, the more I thought about it, the more I was like, this is a really cool concept. I don't exactly know where to put it, but I just didn't feel right putting some of these, like, a lot of these original concepts were just so cool that I was like, I don't feel right putting most of them below an IP.
I agree with that. But with Chucky, because I feel like it is going to have that original twist, I think that is why I kind of have it high. But also, HHN 365 and Fear and Beer both kind of, like, said, like, because it's in the Fast and Furious building, so what if that break is, like, the first part of that house is, like, the haunted house you were supposed to experience, where, like, people aren't actually getting killed, and then Chucky takes over the second part.
I could totally see that.
And I'm like, that also is such a great idea. Like, I hope that's what happens. So that also helped raise this up on my list, I
could see that. It would be a way to utilize that space. Mm-hmm. I'll still bitch about that space when I see it undecorated, but hopefully it's decorated, and hopefully it looks really cool. That's actually a big contributor to why it's also kind of low, is I fucking hated Blumhouse last year, so I'm like, well, you're gonna have to work extra hard to prove to me that this venue works, which I'm, you know, whatever. But yeah, so I'm rooting for this house. I'm genuinely rooting for this house. A really cool idea.
Like at the opening of season 2, there's a moment on, like, that truck that all the dolls are on when they're, like, Andy's driving the truck away.
I still haven't watched season 2.
This isn't much of a spoiler.
I need to. No, go ahead.
But
it's my own fault.
There's literally a point where all of the Chucky dolls get their knives and, like, start cutting down the boxes, like, simultaneously, and I'm like,
oh,
that would be so creepy, just to have, like, a room full of boxes and then, like, knives coming down. That would be so fun.
No, I see that.
Technically,
completely.
Don't think it's gonna happen, but, like, that would be great.
I mean, I'm hoping that the kills, right, in the real half are hopefully, like, repeats of classic kills from maybe the rest of the series.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's just, like, what I've been imagining. So I'm like, you know, just anything from, like, the acid scene with John Waters, you know, mm-hmm. or, like, you just, like, literally any moment from the franchise, if they do that to choose how they, like, do the kills for, like, the cast members and the backstage staff or whatever, I think that could be amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm hype as shit for Chucky. He landed where he landed. Yeah. But baby, you're still my baby boy, and I can't wait to see you, my prince. We're walking not far, honestly. Thank God.
We're getting a couple drinks on our walk.
We're definitely getting a couple of drinks on this walk, and we're probably, you know, we're going chill. We got a scare zone, and it's not far from the entrance and exit of this house. Thank fucking God. So we're going to Vamp 69, Summer of Blood. Lauren, where you got it?
I have this at number 8.
Okay.
So I have it as numbered my second scare zone.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
We did all that shit talking, and now she's backpedaling.
I'm not. I just think it's going to be a fun zone, so I'm going to enjoy it. But the concept is still weaker, but I do think I'm going to enjoy myself in the zone, so that's why it's higher.
Yeah, I've had time to reflect as well since we posted our reaction episode, and it was just in the moment, like, instant thoughts, instant reactions. This is my number 4 zone overall, and it is number 14 total for me. I said it already. I'm not that excited about seeing silly vampires again. If they're taking it seriously, cool. But the 60s is so goofy, like, I just don't think it's going to be that serious. I think it's going to be tongue-in-cheek again, which is what it should be. That's what Vamp the brand, Vamp blank blank should be. I'm sure it's going to be probably everyone's favorite zone this year. Maybe I just have a chip on my shoulder. I'm like, well, this is going to be everyone's favorite. No. But honestly, I'm sure I'll have a great time in this zone. But I am genuinely more interested in the 3 that I have above it.
I will say with the Discover Universal podcast going so in depth with this story specifically, tying in with Dr. Oddfellow, I am interested to see what they're gonna have on the street. They also did a Vamp 69 like episode as well.
Yeah, they did that. They did the Oddfellow thing, which was from the perspective of a vampire, which was really cool.
Yeah.
And they did a separate Vamp 69 episode.
Yes.
That was like just like
somebody that was
attending
attending the concert, which seemed really interesting because it sounds like Dr. Oddfellow somehow like made like the sun kind of go away in this like storm atmosphere that allowed them to like attack.
I would be into like some kind of stormy thunder lightning.
So
kind
I was
of
like,
vibe. Yeah.
that vibe would be fun to have like the vampires running around like killing everybody.
I'm always happy to be proven wrong, and I'm always I'm not like stubborn in any sort of way. Like
that is a damn lie.
And in terms of let me finish. I'm not stubborn in terms of I'm very flexible with my expectations and like what I receive in return.
Yeah.
And if someone can convince me that like why I should like a thing, I will absolutely change my tune on it. I will eat crow and I will change my tune. I have no shame in that. Like, if it's good, and I will fully admit it if it is.
But you can still enjoy something and know it's not good.
That too, but probably, I feel like I've been pretty consistent with at least how I feel about Horror Nights things, where, like, I try to be objective, and I try to let, like, my feelings reflect that.
But also in that zone is the tribute store for this year.
We didn't explain this. So, as some of you may have noticed, we've been ranking things out of 17, but there are only 16 attractions. And that is because, for the first time, we have decided to include the tribute store in our ranking of attractions, because it's gotten to a point where, honestly, it is one of my favorite attractions at Halloween Horror Nights.
It's like, even if you didn't want to buy a single piece of merchandise, you have to go in and see what it looks like.
Full stop. Last year's tribute store, there are houses I like less than. And that's shade to those houses, but that's also, like, I'm just being honest, like, I thought it was this amazing tribute store. I thought it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I've gotten to a point where it feels like an attraction to me. I don't know that the other seasonal tribute stores feel like attractions necessarily. They do and they don't. But the Halloween Horror Nights tribute store is always just, like, decked out, built to the nines, and beautiful. And I never said my ranking of it, but I have it currently ranked as number 9 overall.
I have it as 10 overall.
Like, I'm very excited, and there are things this year that I'm genuinely not as excited about. Like, I'm more excited for this than I am for 8 attractions this year. I'm more excited about the tribute store. So I think that says a lot about how impactful and how, like, just exciting the tribute store actually has become over the years.
Yeah.
Evolving out of something that was genuinely just a tribute to Halloween Horror Nights past in 2015. Now it's, like, an attraction in and of itself. So this year I thought it would be cool to, like, maybe, like, hey, let's rank the tribute store. And then also it's got, like, maybe a comic book vibe to it. Like, I'm seeing, like, maybe, like, Asylum in Wonderland, the in-between vibes, like the haunted house. This sounds cool as fuck, dude. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this. Oh boy. So, not a long walk at all. Walking right out the exit of the tribute store, we got the Downstage 24 houses. We're gonna start with Dueling Dragons. Lauren?
So I have this ranked at number 1. So I ranked it at number 1 because of the, like, choose thy fate sort of aspect of it. Like, I'm not really sure what we're gonna expect. I feel like it's maybe gonna be more like Icons of, like, it just switches out, but, like, I don't know. I'm excited to see what they do with this house. Also, I think it is so great that it is, like, a nod to Universal fans, and that I think just holds makes it have, like, a special place in my heart. So I'm excited to see what this house looks like.
I mean, it's my number 1, guys. It's number 1 for the event, number 1 for the houses. This is the thing I'm most excited about. I'm so glad to have bullied and peer pressured you, and hopefully everybody else, and so we can all be disappointed together.
He's got the outfits planned already.
3 days, bitch. 3 straight days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, dragons. I'm very hyped for this. This is one of my favorite classic theme park attractions, like opening day attractions for a theme park. I mourn its loss constantly, especially with respect to the person who's making money off that spot now. I'm very happy about this. I'm so happy to just see not only just Universal paying tribute to themselves and to their own past in another area. You know, of course, this year there's a few where they're paying tribute to the past, but Also to fantasy. I'm very excited to see high fantasy, castles, dragons, magic, wizards. That is a genre that I think people don't realize just how dark and gothic and scary it can be.
Yeah.
And I think we are going to see some really cool things. I think people are going to think about fantasy maybe from a different angle after this.
Yeah, that's exciting. And then also, just because I know it's your number one, I just wanted to bring in this little tidbit for the people of when we fucking met at the age of 8. We would play, like, fantasy, like, make-believe games on the playground. Like, Dakota's very been into fantasy, like, his whole entire life, that I've, like, full stop. So, like, I just know you're super excited for this.
Very much, very much. It's going to be Team Blizzrock over here. I'm just letting everyone know. Sorry about it, but Team Blizzrock, Team Ice, sorry.
So, in the same soundstage, we would come across Yeti, Campground Kills. Dakota?
So my gut reaction when it was announced and even when the rumor started to break was Yeti again. But like listening to the podcast and hearing them talk about it and like getting more confirmation, like, yes, this is the high camp, sleepaway camp, you know, classic 50s vibe. I ranked this as number 6 overall and number 4 for my houses.
I have this. Okay, so this is another one of those houses that keeps fluctuating for me.
Same.
I currently have it at number 11 for my houses, or I'm sorry, 11 overall and 7 for my houses. That is not to say that I'm not super excited for this house. Like I said, pretty much 1 through like 13 I'm super excited about. And it's just like
pretty much. It really do be like we hit 14 and then it's like, okay, well.
So I'm really excited for this house, even though it is at 11 for me.
Yeah, the idea, someone put it, I don't know who said it, I'm sorry, whichever one of you said it, but someone suggested that they talked about the watchtower in the woods being like, like you're trying to get to the watchtower, and someone said, what if it's like the lighthouse in Dead Man's Pier, where you can see it everywhere, like throughout the house, and I was like, so this could be one of my favorite houses this year. That depth of field really gets me going. I don't know. It just scratches some, like, primate part of my brain.
And it's like I've never disliked, like, an outdoor feeling in a soundstage.
Absolutely.
Even in movies. Like, if I can tell something was filmed in a soundstage, but it's supposed to be, like, an outside, like element, I'm like, I love it. It's beautiful.
Thinking about the 50s and camping, too, I was thinking about, like, the Roger Rabbit camping trip short cartoon, and I was thinking about like that classic happy homemaker out on a picnic like kind of vibe, and I was like, Yeti could be amazing, actually.
Yeah, it definitely has potential. I am in the Yeti again sort of like feeling. I know it's like Bigfoot, but it's also, and it's, you know, this ongoing joke, but it's,
I'm here for the camp, I'm here for the laughs, I'm here for the camp vibes. I'm here for camp and I'm here for camp, honestly. Yeah. So then we are going to keep moving along to the next soundstage, into soundstage 23. We have got Stranger Things 4. Lauren?
I have this ranked at number 3.
Oh, okay. Overall. Oh, damn. Okay.
I'm really excited to see what they do with this house. And it's just like, it could be so disappointing because the last one was so disappointing. But it could be so good.
It could be so good.
I'm so scared, but I'm excited. So here we are.
This part of my brain is like, don't get your hopes up. You didn't love the last Stranger Things house. You love Stranger Things. You're going to like the house. You're going to have a good time, even if it's bad. I'm going to enjoy it. I know I will. I love Stranger Things. But there's this other part of me that's like, what if it hits like the Nightmare on Elm Street house from 2007? And that's where I'm like, it could be amazing though. I don't know. Because Vecna is so Freddy Krueger, you know? And I'm like, I loved Freddy vs. Jason. I loved the solo Freddy house. And I'm like, I'm manifesting that's going to be great. But currently, I do have it ranked as my number 6 for the houses. I didn't feel right putting any of the originals other than Oddfellow. The clowns. I did have to put that one under Stranger Things. Obviously, we already said that was my number 7. But you know, all of the other originals, I was just like, these are so cool. Like, I didn't feel right putting it above those. So it came to my number 6 for the houses and number 8 overall for the season. I'm still very excited. I fucking love Stranger Things. But I am concerned. So yeah, I'm hyped as shit for Stranger Things. Really hope it hits. I really hope it knocks it out of the park. But fool me once, you know.
It doesn't stop me from being excited, which is why it's so high on my list.
It literally doesn't stop me from being excited. I'm really hyped for these other houses so much, and some of them are just so unique and original that I just can't I can't not.
So, also in Soundstage 23 is Blood Moon, Dark Offerings. Dakota, where do you have this ranked?
Blood Moon, Dark Offerings is... I ended up putting this at number 7 overall and number 5 for my houses. This has moved a bit. It hasn't jumped up and down, like, dramatically. It's been kind of floating in my, like, top 5-ish this whole time. I moved it down mostly just out of, like, concern, I guess. I don't know, this other part of me is, like, very, like, oh, what if it doesn't have, like, a good story? Or what if the story isn't communicated well? But then I listened to the podcast literally before we recorded this, and now I'm like, oh, maybe I should move it back up. So I'm not going to. I'm going to leave it where it is because it's set in stone. We're recording the episode. It is where it is. I decided. But I could probably go a little higher for Blood Moon.
I will say, after listening to the podcast, I also could move this up. It has fluctuated quite a bit for me. It was like, I think I had it at like number 3 at one point, and right now I have it at number 13 overall.
Damn.
And number 9 for my houses.
Damn.
My concern is that it's going to be a lot of red light, and it's really going to drown out whatever
the
details
color and the detail and the paint
that the house is going to have. I do expect it to be, like, gory and smelly and, like, nasty, and that does have me, like I said, 1 through 13. Very excited. But yeah, that's where I have it right now.
Yeah, I'm just really hoping those, like, Puritan, culty, witch trial-y vibes really come through, and I'm hoping, I don't know, like, I just want to, like, I guess I'm really hoping it feels like Roanoke, and if it does, it's going to stay high.
Yeah, Roanoke was so good, so, like, that's also, I'm just, like, scared to, like, think that it's going to be, like, as good as Roanoke.
Yeah, I mean, it's a high bar to clear.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, it's a very much a fan favorite house, but I hope this feels to me like the one no one is talking about that could totally be the sleeper hit, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, where people are just not prepared for, like, what it's going to be, because it's such a hard thing to explain or define to people.
I think I find that more with, like, Darkest Steel.
That too, honestly. I think both of those
these are just, like, they're unusual, and I'm like, I don't know what to expect, really, and so I'm like nervous and excited, and I'm just like, I want to be there. I want to know. I want to know.
But I feel good about it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel good about both of them. I'm confident. I'm rooting for them. I definitely want this house to be amazing.
Yeah.
Like you said, those first, like, 13 or 14, like, I mean, there doesn't really sound like any misses. There's just a couple of that. So this brings us, Lauren, to our last house. It is the last attraction of Halloween Horror Nights 32. It is the final thing, the final reveal. We just gotta walk a little further, presumably where you're queuing in the Music Plaza. This is in Soundstage 22. This is The Exorcist, Believer. Lauren?
I have this ranked at number 14 overall and number 10 for my houses. I'm just not that excited.
for all the costuming and the outfits and the reading a book, this is also my number 10 house. And it is number 16 overall. So I don't really care about this movie existing, to be honest. Like, the more I've thought about the movie since we, like, talked about it, the more I've been like, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna see it. But the track record with these preview houses is not great.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, and it's like, I'm expecting it to not feel like an original house, which is like, I should be like, oh, well, it's like an original Exorcist house until the movie comes out. It'll just be like their own thing, but that's not what it is. We know that's not what it is. We know it's probably a scene-for-scene recreation of a movie that they thought would be out by the time the event opened, and it's not going to be. And it sounds like it's not going to be a good movie. And so I'm like, I don't know what to expect for this house. But I'm not expecting much.
But maybe we'll enjoy the house more than we'll enjoy the movie.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. That has happened before, so maybe we'll love it. I hate going in blind to an IP house.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like completely blind. Like maybe I watched a couple of movies in a series, but I didn't see all of them is one thing. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Or even if you started something and maybe you got halfway through a movie, didn't finish it or whatever, you still have some sort of
We have a trailer.
We have one single trailer.
Yeah, I just don't know what to think about this, so I don't know how to feel about it. It could be number 17 out of 17. The only reason I put Shipyard below it is I was very disappointed when Lauren's prophecy that it would be all boxes turned out to be true. Hopefully it's amazing. So that brings us to the end of our hype list, but we'll do a little recap just so that you can see it all listed out in front of you. Lauren, why don't you start?
So my number 17 attraction is Nightmare Fuel. 16 was Shipyard 32. 15 was Dr. Oddfellow's Collection of Horror. 14, Exorcist Believer. 13 was Blood Moon. 12, The Last of Us. 11, Yeti Campground Kills. 10 was The Tribute Store. 9, Zodiac. 8, Vamp 69. 7, Chucky. 6, Dr. Oddfellow. 5, Jungle of Doom. 4, Darkest Deal. 3, Stranger Things. 2, Universal Monsters. And 1, Dueling Dragons.
And for me, my number 17 is Shipyard. 16, Exorcist. 15, Nightmare Fuel. 14, Vamp 69. And then that 1 through 13 that we're actually excited about. We have the Dr. Oddfellow's Zone Collection of Horrors. At 12, The Last of Us House. At 11, Chucky. At 10, the Dr. Oddfellow Haunted House. And then my number 9 is The Tribute Store. Number 8 is Stranger Things. 7, Blood Moon. 6 is Yeti. My top 5 is Monsters. Then number 4 is The Darkest Deal. Number 3 is Jungle of Doom. Number 2 is Dark Zodiac. And number 1 is, of course, Dueling Dragons. Were there any houses that you thought might go up or down?
1 through 13.
I really don't know what to expect. I don't want Dueling Dragons to slip. I want it to meet my expectations, but I know that's so unrealistic. And it probably won't. It never works out that the thing I'm most excited about ends up being my favorite thing. God damn it, I want it to be. Yeah.
Watch twist, that ends up being the Spirit of the Coven.
God, don't manifest that. Let us know down below, what is your 1 through 17 ranking? We want to know, how do you feel about... I don't want to know your 1 through 10. I don't want to know your 1 through 5 separated. Mix it up. Tell me how you really feel.
It gets so hard to decide when you include the zones and shows into just overall what you want. I'm like...
That's why I love doing it this way.
What do I want?
It makes you really have to think. So, I mean, that, like we said, that brings us to the end of our hype list. Thank God. Oh, my little editing fingers could cry. It's been a lot of long episodes I've been doing lately. Short is relative. Is still kind of a long show. But yeah, we have a couple things coming down the pipeline.
So upcoming videos that we have, obviously we will be doing another instant reaction for our thoughts on the houses. As soon as we get out of them, hopefully we will not be as drunk this year.
Yeah, but we're also shooting the Booze, Brews, and Lil Booze Part 2s that same night. So no promises. But we have the perspective of having done it before, and so we can think ahead this time.
So we have a few other things coming in September and October. Stay tuned for those. So we want to remind everybody that we are also doing the Page to Parks book club, where we read the novels and short stories that inspired our favorite rides, attractions, and haunted houses from around the globe. And our first episode will be, I think, in October, and we are reading The Exorcist. So if you want to read that and give us your opinions on it, and we will discuss that on a new...
It's a new show. Yeah, it's a new show. I know we announced this earlier in the season, with our big reaction episode. But yeah, we are reading The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. Get your hands on it. It is definitely not a family-friendly book. If you've seen the movie, you know. It's pretty much the same thing, but
So if you see us in the park this season, please stop and say hi. We would love to meet you guys. And we will hopefully have goodies for you as well.
Lauren has provided us with at least one goodie so far.
So I've definitely made some keychains. So if you see us, they'll have the keychains on it and when I bring them to the park.
Yeah, we'll have keychains. I don't know. I know everyone's doing like candy friendship bracelets. I don't know that we're gonna do that because I do a lot of other stuff and that sounds like even more work.
I might make a few. So I did go to the Honk Girls bracelets and brews get together today actually, the day that we're filming this, and that was a lot of fun. So it was fun to see everybody kind of getting together, talking about horror nights and making bracelets. And we always have like a craft night before horror nights to get ready for the season. And
many a craft.
So I think this is like a really cute idea, and it's just very like wholesome, and I enjoy that. We'll see what happens. We're not promising bracelets, but it's a maybe.
We do have things coming. I know we are going to have hopefully some things going on to the Cathode Coaster Store Envy really soon. I know it's been in the description for a while with nothing for sale. The old prints, not all of those sold out last season. I closed down the store for a few months. So those will be up and available again. And then maybe some new stuff. And then if you head over to the Cathode Coaster tea shop, you will see, hopefully, some new designs that are not from 2021. And maybe some other t-shirts. So if you guys want to support the show... So, yeah, please help support us, just help advertise the show. And by doing that, you can click the subscribe button. You can, of course, like we said, tell us your hype list down below in the comments.
Please do, because I'm super interested to see where everybody
really,
else has
though, I
things
really
ranked.
am. But then, you can share it. You don't even have to share it. Like we said, you can just push the share button and copy the link. It thinks you did it. Subscribe, please subscribe. Like that little do the thing, We don't talk about the... But, she's always watching. And then, of course, Lauren, where can the people find you?
You can find me on social media at LoloFriends.
Yep, you can find me at Cathode Coaster on everything. There is also a Instagram for the Horror Nights Gauntlet, but it's pretty much all of the same content as the Cathode Coaster Instagram. And then I'm on X or Twitter or whatever it's called. But yeah, so if you guys want to do that, support the show, support us, help spread the word. We are getting into Horror Nights season. It is officially Halloween Horror Nights season the week that we are dropping this. It's Friday. So I hope you are as hyped as I fucking am. I know you are.
Yeah.
Shitting our pants. Yeah, hype as fuck though. It is now. It's happening. It's Halloween Horror Nights, folks. But once again, I've been Dakota.
I'm Lauren.
And thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Horror Nights Gauntlet HHN 32 hype episode. Only on what?
Cathode Coaster.
Cathode Coaster, baby.